New national poll out of Emerson shows Bernie and Biden pulling away from the pack while Warren falls, which raises the interesting question of whether or not this is becoming a two-person race. Let's look at the numbers and see if we can tell. So this is the poll here, and don't worry, I'll be sure to link the full poll down in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. So it has an interval of 4.2% and a sample size of 525. So pretty good poll, definitely solid. So you can see the numbers here. So we've got Biden at 32, Sanders 25, Warren 12, all the way down at 12%, with Sanders nearly doubling her support. Buttigieg 8, Yang 6, Gabbard 4, Bloomberg 3, Klobuchar 2, Booker 2, Steyer 2, Delaney all the way at 1, and then everyone else down here at 0. So everyone looking at this poll, right, pretty much everyone looking at this poll, the stock analysis is Warren is out. This is clearly a two-person race. We are returning essentially back to what we had in 2016 with Biden playing the sort of centrist establishment position that Hillary Clinton played last time, and Sanders, of course, being Sanders, right? Now, I said in my last video that I thought it was maybe a little bit too early to say, hey, yes, this is a two-person race, because if you actually go to the RCP, sort of RCP average, let me switch this for you. If you go to the RCP average, this is Warren here in the brown. So she had her rise and then she went down, and then you start to see her bounce back. But we've seen two polls now. I don't know if you can see that, where she kind of seems to be dipping back down a little bit. Personally, I do think, personally, I do think that it is maybe slightly too early to say for sure. It's slightly too early. I think we're going to have to wait 1 week, maybe 2 weeks still to see exactly what happens. Because again, she did start to see a bounce back after her fall. I do think, we might want to wait maybe 2 weeks to say for sure that this is a two-person race, but definitely looking at this poll, it seems to be a two-person race. Now, there's two general theories about sort of what's going on. So obviously she really started to see her fall when she started equivocating on the issue of Medicare for all, and when she started because for a while she was releasing a whole bunch of progressive policies. When she stopped sort of doing that and kind of played the centrist game for a little bit, not full centrist, but started moving a little bit on some of the issues, she started to see her fall. There's two theories that I've seen about what was going on with that. So the first theory is sort of what you might expect. Her advisors or her thought, hey, look, I've consolidated pretty much as much of the left lane support I can get. If you look at Sanders voters, they say that they're very firmly committed to him. They're not going to switch. So really, I've sort of reached my ceiling when it comes to the left wing lane. If I start moving a little bit towards the center, I might be able to get some of those, at least center of the Democratic Party. I might be able to get a few of those votes. And so you'll remember she did that thing where she was saying she would not raise middle class taxes, right? And so she came up with this really convoluted pay plan. And then afterwards, when it came to Medicare for all, and then afterwards, a few weeks later, it got worse when she came out and said, basically, initially I'm going to release do a public option bill, and then, my third year or whatever, I'm going to come out and pass another bill, and that one will be Medicare for all, single payer. So very convoluted and ridiculous, and she really started falling in the polls from that. And so the first analysis there about why she did that was, she was just trying to consolidate centrist support. And then the second that I saw I saw this one more recently. So Anna Kasparian over at the Young Turks made a video suggesting that part of the reason why, because she had gotten just very recently she got endorsements from literally hundreds of former Obama aides. And so Anna had speculated, and she admits that this is speculation. She speculated that possibly part of the whole process of courting that endorsement, because obviously that would be an endorsement that was probably going on behind the scenes for quite a while, that possibly part of courting that endorsement was softening a little bit on the issue of single payer Medicare for all. And so she kind of, did that double take with the double take with the whole like, oh well, first I'm going to do public option and then I'm going to do that, and so it could have been part of sort of courting that endorsement. Again, though, Anna, Anna says that that's speculation. Personally, I'm more inclined towards the first one, where she's just trying to move towards the center. I think that there's sort of fewer steps in that theory. There's less assumptions being made, but I don't necessarily deny that that's impossible. I think that that's a really interesting point um, that Anna makes. I think that it's really interesting, and I'd like to definitely see more reporting on it. It's possible that, yes, she did maybe equivocate a little bit on, I'm sure, equivocate on some points in order to get that really big endorsement. Although I don't know for sure that the changes on Medicare for All are, sort of related to that specifically. Now, the other thing that's really interesting here is Yang is up at 6%. So this is actually his I don't know if it's his second or third poll now where he's really been doing quite well. So Yang really does seem to be on the rise. And I'm starting to think, just looking at the numbers, I'm starting to think that actually some of the reason why Yang has been going up is actually related to Warren's fall. I think that Yang is actually picking up at least a little bit of Warren's support. I think that the majority of the support that Warren sort of lost, I think a lot of it is going to Bernie, because Bernie has been definitely going up in quite a number of polls as Warren has fallen, but I'm also starting to see Yang rise, and I'm starting to think that part of that has to do just with Warren's fall. Now, Buttigieg has also been falling. Buttigieg seems to be getting really hurt by Bloomberg. Now, I will say in this particular poll, you can see here Bloomberg is actually quite low at 3%, though if you look in some national polls, he's as high as 6. I just made a video a few days ago talking about how, Bloomberg, I think Bloomberg was at 4 or 5 in that poll. How, Bloomberg spent something like $100 million in TV ads. I guess that's what $100 million will get you, 5% towards the presidency, right? So, money can buy you something, right? Now, this poll, he's pretty low, but Bloomberg's coming in really does seem to have really hurt Buttigieg. They seem to be competing in many ways for the same voters. But again, I think this poll is kind of underestimating Bloomberg, because he is higher in a number of polls. So in any case, that's pretty much the video. I'd really appreciate it if you, really hit that like button and consider subscribing too. So thanks.